Hi. Welcome to another program. This week we want to talk about the Russia and the Turkey and its relation. In our previous program we have mentioned that Turkey should end its alliances within NATO, plus should also stop the application of membership into the EU, because now it's not beneficial for Turkey to sustain these relations like this. We have this briefly, let's say, discussed in the previous program. Now, this program we want to talk about, especially with Turkey and Russia, because Russia is very much active in Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, Northern Africa, and considering the geography, they can even put some missiles against, let's say, Europe and or NATO assets, let's say in Libya, you know. And if this happens, it's also going to pose a threat to us. And therefore, everybody is saying that the relations between Turkey and Russia is very warm, very good, but our always benefits that we think that we should have is colliding or crashing. In order to stop the effectiveness or the increasing the footprint of Russia into Africa, Turkey should start widening its military products in our portfolio. What does it mean? Russia has been providing many different kinds of, I will say, Russian military equipments to the countries where they have domestic problems within Africa, especially Central Africa and Southeast Africa and so on and so forth. In order to stop this, Turkey should replace the Russian equipment demand with the Turkish equipment demand from the Africans. So in order to do that, we have to start producing or widening up our marketing effects or efficiency. So in order to do that, of course, you have to produce these kind of equipments so that you can replace it with the Russian ones. This is the first thing that Turkey should be doing this. Of course, this is going to increase or create, I will say, a tension between us and Russians, but the Russians cannot do anything about this because this is just a free market, right? But it's important to do that. So what does it mean, by the way? It means that Russia wants to increase it because they want to have alliance, because they have lost almost every alliance. Now they are trying to increase their alliance with Iran. They have lost already the Armenians, and they try to always keep a good relation with Chinese and South Korea. But if you look at the others, they have no alliances. So they want to keep the Turkey in the arm distance, but not because they love us, because they need us. And can we trust them? Of course we cannot trust them. Imagining Russia allocating or putting some kind of missiles into Libya, what will happen with the threat understanding of Turkey? It will affect us greatly. It will affect us all. So we cannot trust this. We cannot trust the Russians. So we have to start balancing the activities of Russian, I will say, influence in Africa, because this should be our, I will say, primary focus. There is also very important aspects of Africa to us. I mean, Russian wants alliances within the world, but we need to also access the raw material. I mean Turkey. And Turkey needs the raw materials and cheap raw materials plus the cheap energy to access and to bring it back to land, so that we can increase the mass production of any industrial materials and or equipments. In order to have this, we have to have an efficiency, we have to have an influence within these African countries. Unless we do have, we cannot do our planning, and even we cannot get out of, let's say, the European application, Union application, plus the NATO alliances. So we have to do this. Is it easier to be done? In that moment, it seems it might be easier than, let's say, 10 years ago, because there is not much. I mean, France is trying to be effective in Africa a little bit, but they have a lot of resistance because of their failing strategies and politics since the century. The Americans are moving out of Middle East and also Africa. They only now think about the China and the Chinese threat to counter with. Therefore, it leaves the area, and Russia is now trying to fill this. Not because they see this and they wanted to fill this gap, but they see that they don't have any alliances, so they need to create these alliances by offering the military equipment to these African countries. But we have to offer something also in return back to these African countries, like the technology and development and so on, so forth. So once we can do that, we can counter the Russian, I would say, increasing foothold in the African countries, and also we can start gaining also economic advantages out of these alliances, which is good for us. So that's my thing. We cannot trust Russia in that regard. Therefore, although everybody says, even in Europe, yeah, there is Russians and Turks are very good, blah blah, and so on and so forth. Actually, it's not. These kind of things will bring again the Turkey and Russia interests colliding each other, which means that either we want or not, or Russians even they want or not, we will start having some tensions in future out of this or that. But one of these things will be because of the Africa, believe me. So what Turkey should be doing is really start developing the military equipment, I will say, portfolio, provide more, I will say, variety to the market, African market, cheap ones with high quality, technological advance as much as possible. Plus, we have to change our laws in order to let our manufacturers to import as soon as possible, as mass as possible in production. Once it's done, I think we can start encountering the and also creating our own influence within the African continent. Let me know what you think about this, and thanks for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.